Hi there, we are back at Dijon for another round of testing. I've shown you this track before, you can watch it on my channel at the beginning of the year if you like, but this time we are here for a full race weekend. This means 2 races and 2 qualifications. This format sounds a bit weird to me, to be honest, because we have separate quali for each race, usually it's different, never mind. But these tests give an opportunity to introduce you some of the cars and classes sharing the grid with us, and maybe some others you can see on screen but from other championships. So there are 3 classes on our grid. The first is the one I'm racing in, the Formula 4 Migale. I've already talked about this car in more details before on my channel, you can watch it. So the next class is Formula Renault. You can see it right now on screen. It is roughly the same weight, but more powerful. And the aerodynamics looks more advanced too, I would say. The difference in power is something like 40-50 horsepower. At the same time, it is an older car when it comes to electronics and transmission. Either way, its actual lap times are faster, sometimes much faster depending on track. We have separate classifications, so there is not much point in fighting with Formula Renault cars for position, but you will be seeing plenty of them on track. The third class is Formula Historic Renault. I don't know too much about their technical specs, because they are pretty old cars actually, but as you can see here, in terms of top speed they are about as quick as we are on straights. In corners though, they are noticeably slower. Either way, they are really interesting cars to have on grid. They don't pose too much of a challenge in terms of outright competition, but they definitely add some character to the field. Also, as you can see here, there is a lot of traffic during these test sessions. Track time in a race car is sometimes expensive, probably you know, and days like this can feel sometimes a bit unproductive, but for me, this is the first race weekend in this car, so I need as much time as I can get to learn both track and the car. For me it takes time, so even if the sessions aren't perfect, they are still much better than nothing, and definitely, obviously, better than sitting at home. So we are at Dijon and I'm really happy to be here. I didn't understand how much I miss racing before I get to the car, yeah, and after a few laps in free session it was great, yeah. We have a few sessions more for free practice, then qualifying, then races, you will see it, let's go. This is our last test session and, well, something is wrong with the car definitely. It doesn't want to change gears, so I'm stuck in 6th gear. I don't know what to do, I'm slowing down, I need to find a safe place to stop. Yeah, there is a marshal post there. Yeah, let's go there. The guys are trying to figure out what's causing the problem, and hopefully it's nothing serious, because qualifying starts early morning tomorrow.
So obviously we had a problem with the throttle cable, it's stuck. It happens, yeah, it's fixed now, hopefully.
I've run actually into this before on the other race cars. With high temperatures and constant vibrations, things like throttle cable can become a weak point. It's a relatively common issue in motorsport, so hopefully that's all it is. And while we are waiting, let me tell you about something called a track walk. It is when drivers, coaches and everyone else who is interested walk around the circuit and try to learn something about it. To be honest, I'm usually pretty skeptical about this. Everything looks completely different from inside the car at speed. A curb, for example, can look high and intimidating when you're standing next to it, but in the car you can often take it flat out without any problem. Or a racing line at speed is not quite the same thing as a racing line at 5 km per hour. Or maybe I just want a scooter. Anyway, some of the guys from the team suggested going for a track walk, and really, who am I to say no to a walk on a beautiful evening like this? Every race weekend starts with scrutineering, especially this weekend, since it's the first race of the season. After this, they will mostly inspect the podium finishers. They check things like car's weight, ride height, suspension geometry and all the required safety equipment. There shouldn't be any surprises today, really, because these are FIA homologated cars, so everything is built to a very strict set of regulations. In the meantime, we are heading to the driver's briefing. There is usually nothing too exciting, like sign in a few documents, listen to the safety procedures one more time and make sure everyone's on the same page. I mostly see it as another chance to practice my French. This is qualification. Out of 2 qualifying sessions, I'll show you one reasonably decent lap, more or less okay, so let's see.
It wasn't that good for me, obviously. I think third in class and somewhat eighth overall, doesn't matter. But yeah, I couldn't find my pace. The car was understeering pretty much, which is unusual for this car. Usually it does the opposite. But yeah, we'll try to find something for the car, and maybe in the telemetry we'll look up, maybe I can improve somewhere.
I have to say, this turned out to be much bigger event than I expected. Huge queues just to get into the circuit, crowds of spectators in the paddock and on grandstands, and so many different historic classes with some truly fascinating cars. Some of them are genuinely great to watch. There is something special about seeing these cars, older machines, being driven the way they're meant to be, like loud, fast and without being hidden away in the museum. It really adds to the atmosphere of the whole event. What surprised me the most was how many people were actually interested in our Formula 4 as well. Throughout the day there were always spectators stopping by the garage, watching the cars being worked on, asking some questions and in general following what was going on. It definitely made the whole event feel like a proper race event. Of course, I've been to big race events before, but always as a spectator. Racing in front of so many people is something I haven't experienced before, so I have to admit it's pretty strange feeling.
So I looked at the data and, well, it's pretty frustrating, I have to say, because yeah, I did the better times here in this car at this track before, and now yeah, I couldn't for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, there are some excuses as always, but they're just excuses. The car, the setup is not perfect, but the setup is never perfect. It's fine. Well, yeah, I couldn't find a good lap. I fight with some traffic, etc. So yeah, third is not that bad, but still I hoped for a better lap times.
In this championship we have a rolling start, which is nice, but it's the first time I'm doing rolling start, so yeah, I'll try to stay safe and not to do stupid things. So far so good. I gained a couple of positions in the first turn on the outside, but now I have a couple of faster cars behind. At this point I'm just trying to stay behind this Formula Renault and use his slipstream to help me a bit. it was a good exit and he missed the gear or something. But I think, yeah, I'm trying to attack, but the top speed is not enough, obviously, and I don't know the guys how aggressive they are, so I'll try to stay safe here. Made a couple of small mistakes, but it was enough to lose him as well as his slipstream, so now I'm under the attack of Maxime. Maxime was noticeably faster in qualifying, and I don't want to lose a lot of time, so I don't see a point in fighting with him here, so I let him go inside. Now I'm under the pressure of this red Formula Renault behind. As you can see, the speed difference on the straight is pretty massive. And one more is coming. Again, not enough speed, and yeah, I'm not fighting for positions in the classification with Formula Renaults, so I don't see a point in fighting with them. I'm just trying to find my pace, yeah, and stay behind. Yep, there is always room for mistake. I don't have enough pure pace to get this white Renault, but we are starting to overtake lapped cars, so maybe they will help me to slow him down a bit. Well, unfortunately this insect doesn't care about my little video production, but the fight with Renault is still pretty good, so I keep showing it to you. we have lapped Formula 4 in front. I'm using his slipstream, the barely visible Formula Renault on the right. And as you can see, it's final lap, so I have to push. Somehow I managed to pass him, but it's the final lap and he's in the faster car, so I have to find a way to keep him behind for just one lap.
Et là, c'est le championnat, c'est pour les groupes F4 Miguel. CEO qui partage le podium, félicitations à eux. Et Raman Gourari.
Yes, in terms of lap times, it wasn't so good. Yeah, but in terms of the fight, it was amazing. Yeah, these cars, you know, they are faster. But yeah, we have what we have. But it's still very, very fun, and we have a trophy for today's race. Tomorrow we have one more, but the problem is that my tires, we have to use the same tires. They're already like beyond that. We need a second, maybe third life for them. So yeah, we'll see.
One interesting thing about this weekend is that the one of the racing classes today is racing trucks. I have to admit, this is the first time I've ever seen them in person. They're actually one of the main reasons why so many spectators have come here today. To be honest, I don't find the racing itself of the trucks all that spectacular, but then again, it's worth remembering that these machines weigh over 5 tons and produce well over 1,000 horsepower. When you look at them this way, what they are capable of is actually pretty impressive. Either way, it's another fascinating piece of the motorsport puzzle for me, and one more thing I'm glad I finally got to watch in person.
I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the helmet is covered well with oil or some stuff, I don't know. It's one particular feature of open wheels that you are catching all the stuff with your head, basically. Yeah, so helmet is struggling a bit.
The whole weekend the main problem was my way of managing the tires, I mean lack of management. I did a few fundamental mistakes in quali, and in this championship we are limited with one set of tires per weekend, so after 2 qualis and 1 race my tires are in pretty miserable condition. I am starting 3rd in class and 9th overall, but I don't have very high hopes. There was an oil leak on track in the race before us. It was fixed with some powder as usual, so I'm struggling with grip even more. At this point it becomes one-man race for me. I don't have pace to close the gap in front and able to manage to keep one behind. Well, not a lot of entertainment in this race, just some lapped cars, but honestly I'm happy with it, because this car turns out to be pretty physical, honestly, so it takes effort just to keep some reasonable pace, not speaking about fighting. It was my first race weekend in France, 2 races actually. I finished them all, so yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Yeah, I'm not so happy about the lap times, because, well, yeah, I expected a bit more, but yeah, it's my problem, obviously. I'm not good at managing tires, and yeah, some other minor issues, but in fact I love the atmosphere in the team, because we are sharing all the data. There are 5 of us, some guys are much faster, some are slower, so we are sharing the data, the videos. It was pretty easy to find the problem. Now I know what I have to work on, and yeah, hopefully I will be better next time. This time I was both times on podium, so yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Next time we have a really big event. It's called Historic Tour France in Paul Ricard. It should be amazing. I expect a lot of atmosphere, etc. I will try to show it to you, and yeah, see you there. And one last little bonus before we end. One of the more unusual traditions of this race weekend is the truck parade. As far as I know, they come from all over the country just for this event. There are road trucks, long-haul trucks, service vehicles probably. I honestly don't know much about them, but they look absolutely incredible. They growl, they blast their air horns, sparkle with thousands of lights, and so many of them are covered in custom paint jobs. And there are hundreds of them. Believe me, it's incredible. Right now they are making their way slowly, very slowly, through the paddock before heading out onto the track. It is very unusual sight for me personally, and a surprisingly fun way to end up the weekend, although they're just a little bit loud.